What's up, my guys? Okay, so this week and next week, I'm gonna do a little tool explanation, and I honestly am gonna be learning it along the way myself. I haven't done a ton of electronic diagnostic stuff. I have a mechanical engineering degree. I used to hate the electrical side of things, but with my new job, I am really getting down and dirty with all the electrical type things, and I found it fascinating after doing all of the wiring on this with Brent, and him teaching me a ton along the way. So now I'm excited to really get into the weeds of it and really learn a lot more. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So over the next 2 weeks or so, could be longer, I am going to be diagnosing and showing you how to fix the parasitic draw in the car. Really, honestly, I was kind of just looking for an excuse to use these tools and figure it out in an application that I can actually, be in. And the car dies after a week. It's a small-ish parasitic draw, but it's there. And it'll be cool to figure out where it's coming from and, fix it. So if you don't know, I am now the new product development project manager at PowerProbe USA. PowerProbe USA has developed electronic automotive diagnostic tools for the past 20 or so years. A little more than that with the flagship PowerProbe. I'll show you those tools here in a second. First tool we will be using is the amp clamp from PowerProbe. This is the PPD CM80. It is a mixture of a amp clamp, which you see up here, and a regular multimeter. So you have two leads that you can use multimeter functions from, and what we have up top is the amp clamp. I'll show you what that does here in a second. So we are at the back of the car, and I have this hooked up to a tender right now, so let's go ahead and pop that off. Most cars, you'd have to wait for everything to kind of fall asleep. This car doesn't have anything, meaning like the modules and all that. This car doesn't have anything like that, plus it's been sitting, so it doesn't matter. So we are gonna set, so this is just setting the amp, So this is just setting the amp threshold. So what we are gonna measure, and what this measures is the amount of amps running through a wire. So on the negative side, I'm going to go ahead and throw this on. This is the most accurate. I'll just show you how it kind of works here right now, but very cool. It's measuring impedance by running through the wire, right around the wire. So we can see that there is 0.1 amps running through here. That is 100 milliamps. Let's find out, to the next decimal point. 0.17, that's 170 amps running through it, milliamps, 170 milliamps, that's 0.17 amps. Now, let me tell you, regular threshold for cars should be around 50 milliamps, so 170 is more than that. Let's go figure it out. 185 milliamps running through the system. So the typical amount of amp draw when a car is sitting and stationary should be under the threshold of 50 milliamps. We have a amp draw of 180, 170, 190 milliamps. That's kind of a lot. A car would typically die every night at about 500 milliamps. So it takes this car about a week if I don't run the alternator, if I don't run the car. So obviously I can get by. That's no biggie. But it'll be fun to go ahead and dig into this and see what we can figure out. Honestly, I'm really fascinated in learning this side of things. So figured I'd film it and we'd learn together. And I'm going to have to be developing a lot more of these tools. So if you've been using PowerProbe items and you're familiar with this kind of stuff and you have any ideas / things that you wanted as attachments or things that the PowerProbe could do, let me know. I'm your guy. But yeah, let me show you the other equipment. Nice to have the cars nice and up and ready. This is looking good. I washed it just before I put it up, but that's how she sits. And just so you guys see kind of what I'm working with, I'm actually doing a little rewiring under here. Usually this sits nicely up under here and I have these kind of tucked away, but I have a lot of this stuff out because I'm doing some rewiring, and I'll tell you exactly what I'm doing that for, and basically show you kind of what's going on. So yeah, this is kind of the current state of things. This gets really nice when it gets tucked up under the dash, and I have the cover there that covers it all. I'll show you the process, but I'm gonna rewire, clean things up a little bit, and I'll show you every step of the way. So what I am doing right now is I'm actually throwing in the fuel pressure sensor. That is something that I've been meaning to do for a little while now. I'm actually just gonna throw it right on the fuel pressure sensor on the rail right there. You can see there's a little screw right there that I can pop off and run this in. From there, I am going to run this wire through the firewall and into the ECU with power and a ground. And in there, I actually have some stuff in here that could be grounded to the chassis or should be grounded to the chassis. So I'll explain along the way what those are. And I'm gonna go ahead and wire those to the chassis and take this fuel pressure sensor and run it into ECU. And what that ECU is doing is, this is the CAN signal and the CAN wire right here, which is connected to the screen, and the screen displays all of our engine diagnostics. So the CAN system on the ECU translates all of the engine diagnostic, or rather the engine parameters, and sends it to it translates all of that through code into the screen there. The BTI screen that Brandon makes. Amazing stuff. I'm really, really loving it all the time. But yeah, so that's what I'm running through here. Also, what I am doing is I'm going to wire the VVTi sensor directly to the ECU. So right now it's running through the OEM harness and I'm wired to the original ECU. So this is a AEM, the inside was the AEM V2, and this is the original ECU. This is a DZOD Motorsports jumper kit that I've used. It's old system. It's probably 10 years old by now, but it works. And honestly, so what we're gonna go through with tuning, you know, my tuner knows a lot about this stuff on the AEM V2 side of things. So Lawrence Shipman is gonna just run through it and make sure she's happy, but he can do a lot of things like boost by gear and stuff like that with it. And honestly, the system works, so I'm gonna keep with it and keep learning with it. So I'm very happy with it. So we're gonna use a few tools. This is the amp clamp that I showed you before. Like I said, that has the 2 leads. That's actually in that box over there. And it has the 2 leads, so you can use it as a multimeter, which is its main course, but it also has the amp clamp function that you can also use it for. Obviously, you have all your parameters here. You know, you have your resistance, your continuity, then you can run your voltmeter check, so you have your voltmeter. Well, I don't know what the temperature side of things does. Then you have frequency. I think if you show it as a waveform on there, but I will confirm that. And before we get into the multimeter, I just want to show you real quick the power probe that made Power Probe famous in the first place. This is what their original product ended up resulting from. This is the PP3, a few generations down the line. But basically, you have a tip that runs on the end of your power probe. You have power and ground. You run that to your 12-volt source, whether it's the alternator or the battery. And you can power circuits to complete circuits by pressing up, and that actually will give 12 volts through the tip probe to power whatever it is you want to power. So whether it's the AC compressor and you want to make sure that the motor's good on that, or you're testing fans, blah, 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 blah. There's actually different tips that they make. This tip is actually to measure amperage, which is what we were doing earlier with the multimeter on there. So you can use your power probe as a multimeter function, but there's also a pulse width modulation tip that you can actually go ahead and give different percentages of pulse width modulation to run and make sure that every bit of your fan system works or similar. And then there's a 5-volt tip that limits to 5 volts, so you can test sensors like your 5-volt fuel pressure. That's not fuel pressure down there, or oil pressure down there, or whatever. But yeah, that's mainly what your power probe can do. You could also ground circuits. So if you have a bad ground, you can go in and you can ground, make sure that there's a better ground. If it gets 12 volts, it will beep. If it's anything under 12 volts, it won't beep, and you will see that there is something wrong with this circuit. There is an open somewhere causing the voltage to be lower than it should be, blah, 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 blah. So then the next item that we're going to use, this is new to Power Probe. It is the DM300 Auto. It's actually a super trick. There are no multimeters on the market that are specifically for auto functions. So this is actually a really trick device, and I'll kind of show you how to measure the amp current, the draw via the DM300 Auto. There are charts, which I will link in the description, on how to measure the current running through relays and fuses, and how to then translate that to amount of amps. Happily, that amp draw going through, happily the DM300 Auto converts that for you. So I'll link the charts below, but what you would do is basically run this on voltmeter mode. You would want your AC DC voltage, And from there, you can go through each fuse and see if there's any voltage running through it. If there's any voltage running through it, you then can correspond the voltage that's coming through it to the chart that I will show right here and show that, see, this is a mini fuse. This mini fuse has, say it was, 0.1 volts going through it, and it's a 30 amp mini fuse. It will then show you the translation of how many amps are running through it so that you know that that is your draw. That's what circuit has, your parasitic draw. And you can track that down and go into the car or whatever that ends up being and find out why it's drawing. So the DM300 Auto, however, since it's automotive focused, has the ability to do that calculation for you on the fly. So we're going to go ahead and click fuse current. And what we are going to do is basically you're going to throw a lead on the positive, negative side or either side of any of the fuses. So right now it's not reading anything, and you can see that once. So right now it's not reading anything, and you can see once that you have it on both sides, it reads 0 amps. So that's exactly what you want to see in that situation. You want to see 0 across the board, but I'm an idiot and I didn't do something, and I'm going to show you how to do it. What I failed to do was go ahead and select the type of actual fuse. This is a mini fuse, so okay, we'll do that. You see the amps right there. And I ran through all of these. I got 0 on all of them except for a 10 amp one and a 20 amp one. And I think, so now from there, I'll be able to give the culprit, but let me show you. So this is that 20 amp that is the problem child. And look, we got 0.07, 0.06 amps going through. That is about 60 milliamps. So that's about half of, well, that's pretty much all of our draw. That other 10 amp, I think it had about 20 milliamps going through it. So I'll go through, that's less of a problem child. But whatever this fuse is our problem. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull up what that is right now. So that is the ECU that's pulling that 70 or so milliamps. Some modules are supposed to actually pull a good amount, and that's what that, acceptable 50 to 60 milliamp threshold is on most cars for it to be pulling when it's got nothing attached to the battery or when the car's not running. I'm gonna have to do a little research and find out what the typical values are there, and I will update that in the next video. But let me go through and just see what that other fuse is. So that second 10 amp fuse that's pulling was pulling about 20 or 30 milliamps, probably 25 or so milliamps. That is a 10 amp fuse that seems like it's supposed to be a 20 amp fuse for the radio. Looking at it now, it seems to be the case. So that is right there. That's our problem child, which is, this is EFI right here. EFI 25. Then you have turn hazards 15. And then you're supposed to go to radio number 1, which is the problem child right here. This is a 10 amp fuse, what should be a 20 amp fuse. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do a little research and figure out what values those are supposed to be and whether or not the difference in amp fuse is causing that that extra bit of draw on that circuit for the radio. So I'm gonna go do that research, and I'll stitch that in here if I do it today. But if not, thank you guys for watching. This is gonna be a fun little series to do. And I think that we're gonna have some fun learning about these tools and some of the things that I'm gonna be doing here, repinning the oil pressure sensor and all that fun stuff. But yeah, I'm doing this all to kind of just enjoy the car a little bit more and basically refine that last 4 or 5%. I'd say it's that about 95% there. And I just want drivability things like going through and get to a light and you have your AC on, so it's pulling a little extra and it doesn't die or doesn't try to die, little stupid stuff like that, but it makes all the difference in driving it daily. So basically Lawrence Shipman is going to run through it. He's a whiz with the AEM. I love the V2 works, so I don't plan on making any changes, and I've learned a lot about it, and maybe I will go to, there's no reason to go to Infinity. This setup works great. I plan to leave it the way it is, it makes about 650, and it's fun there. I can always put a bigger turbo on it and go for more, and we can still use this ECU. So I plan to stay with it and learn more. I've got all the tools ready to keep going about it. I learned a lot when we were wiring it with Brent over at Sissio Performance. That was a lot of nights of me and him going into it and really getting down and dirty. So now I'm going to go through it alone, and I feel pretty confident about it, being able to learn these tools and teach you guys about it along the way, as I do. So again, thank you for watching, and I will see you next week with some more down and dirty and maybe actually some explanations of what's going on here. And I'll show you how to fix it, or diagnose it and fix it. And then I'll show you some pinning on the ECU, and then we're gonna get down and dirty and we're gonna frickin' do some burnouts and just enjoy the hell out of it. But again, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for subscribing. You guys are the bomb. We got more to come. These cars are gonna be sick. Woo!